How to draw Spider-Man Miles Morales across the Spiderverse. So I believe this movie comes out the 2nd of June, so we're a little bit early. But nevertheless, let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the HB pencil and I'm going to map out roughly where I'm going to put the body. So I'm just going to do an oblong for the head, nice faint circle, a big half round circle above that for his big afro. And I'm just going to draw in a little neck and then shoulders. So it's like a little silhouette figure. And this is just going to be as reference to where, so we can fit the body on basically. Because we're going to be doing him shoulder width down to his chest. So then we're going to put a dot in the centre of the face. And we're going to measure with a ruler 3 centimetres to the left and 3 centimetres to the right. That's going to be the width of the head. And I'm just going to do a straight line down on the left, straight line in the middle, and a straight line on the far right. So you should have 3 horizontal lines. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. So we're just going to draw a circle using the width that we've got set out. So it wants to be about 3 centimetres low and 3 centimetres high. So if you just join this circle round, draw your curves like this in quarters, and then if you want, just draw it rounded with a side grip. It's the easiest way. Now from here, I'm just going to extend these lines a little bit. I'm going to draw a straight line across the middle of the circle, where the dot, going through the dot to make it into quarters. Another straight line at the bottom of the circle. Then I'm going to add another line just above the bottom. So we've got like a little window at the bottom part where the nose is. And put another line underneath that for the lips. I'm just going to make a little marker to the side. So the bottom one I'm going to put for lips. Top one, eyes. Then the nose, and then you've got lips. Right. So I'll just rub that middle one out. I don't think we need that now. We've got the width made. Now we can make a start on the eyes. So just a little dot to the left and a little dot to the right. And then we're just going to draw as if we're putting an eye in the centre. That's the width we want the eyes distanced apart. And then we're going to draw another eye on the left and right, roughly. So it's like we've got 3 eyes in a row. I've done these very lightly so you can hardly see, but we will darken them up in a moment. So if you just go around them, applying a little bit more pressure and darken the eyes up, you're just doing like an oblong shaped eye on both sides. So they're more or less identical, these eyes, and just nice and dark on the top. It's more thicker. And then underneath, another nice oblong. So on the left eye, you can see I've done it a little bit fatter than the right. So I'm just going to thicken that up. I'll rub that left one out a little bit. Now they're similar size. I may thicken the other eye up. So the eyeball inside his eyes are very big. So you want to leave a little gap for the white. And we draw the eyes as big as possible. Then you're just going to put in a little circle in both. That's for the iris. And I'm going to shade that in. Shade both eyes in. Now I'm thinking his nose might be a little far down on this one. So I'm thinking we may want to bring it a bit closer to the eyes. So if we just draw a little circle here, we're going to do his nose quite short because it's quite a short nose and wider. So if we just rub this little line out here, I don't think we're going to use that one for the nose. We'll do the nose right here. So it's almost halfway down in between that square. And the nose's width is going to come in line with the inside of the eye, the eyeball that is. So we'll start off with the nostrils. So it's like a little triangle to the left with a square top, and then same again. It's just a short nostril and a shade therein. And then from that, he's got a square nostril on both sides. It's slightly rounder on the right, more curved like a backward C. And his nose joins up on the left side. So it goes all the way up in between his eyes, and it joins together with the left nostril. So it's a nice big square cartoonish nose. Now here where we've got this marking that we've got marked as the nose, we're going to turn that into the lips now. Now the lips width are going to go in line with the iris. So a little black circle we did, we're just going to draw two faint lines down, all the way down, so we can get the width of the lips. So we started with the top lip. I don't usually like to do that, I like to start with the middle, but we're going to start with the top so we've got it at the height we want it. So the line in the middle is slightly jagged, a little curve in the middle. You don't want to be doing this line straight, you want to go wavy in the middle. And then it's quite a square lip, so it's down at an angle on both sides like a trapezium, and then flat at the bottom. So we've got nice thick lip at the bottom, and then you just want to extend the lines on the outside, and then like a little dimple either side. If you want to add in some details on the eyes, you can put in two little circles on each eye for like lighting. And that'll remind you if you're colouring to leave a white gap. So the eyebrows, I'm just going to draw the eyebrows in as little lines, like worms. And then we can thicken them up as long as we've got the shape first. So the shape of the eyebrow goes flat at the top and then curves round at the end of the eye to show the depth of his face. Now his eyebrows are quite close together. I want to do them relatively thick, so they're nice and pointy on the outside and rather flat and square on the inside near the middle bridge of the nose. So I've done them relatively thin. I might want to thicken them up later. Try and bring them a bit closer together in the middle. So now I'm just going to put a little line in line with the nose that goes above the eyebrow. And then we can start on his cheekbones. So we've got the width of the head marked out. And it's going to curve up for his forehead. He's got a large forehead. So it's almost the full length of the circle that we did. And we're going to curve it out. So it's nice square forehead, but then it just rounds off on the edges. And that'll create a depth in his face to make it look 3D. Make this a little bit more curvy on the top, and then we can rub out some of the guidelines. We've got a lot of guidelines on here now. Right, underneath his chin he's got a little dimple mark, so draw that in. Do a little bit of shading just to get his chin's how far down to come. So his chin's rather square as well, it's like a muscular jaw chin. It's got a big jaw. So we want it nice and round. So I think in line with the nose, we're going to bring in the cheekbone on both sides of his face. If you want to start curving it in. And that comes towards the lips. And the rest of his chin will go down and then round. So follow the lines that we've got set up. We'll curve the line in right there. So let's rub out some guidelines so we can see what we're doing. So this part I'm going to rub out all the circle, the middle lines in the nose and the eyes. So we should just be left with the face and the cheekbones. Right. So his jaw wants to go up in line with his lips is where we're going to put the cheekbone. So the cheekbone curves around. I'm just going to redo this line, it looks a bit jagged. Right, so you've got the flat line at the bottom. You curve that round and up, and then the cheekbone will come in towards the lips, almost identical to the other side. And if it doesn't look too right, don't worry too much about it, because we will be adding in the ears, which will make it a lot better. So just sort this left side of the chin nice and firm there, shade that line down. Now on the right side, I think it's just sticking out a little too much, so just rub that out and bring it in a little more like this. And then we'll add in his neck, so his neck comes in narrower than the jaw. So he's got like a skinny neck. And then his suit comes in. So you only see a little bit of his neck. His suit comes down at an angle and then right round. Got a little curve at the front where his Adam's apple is, I suppose. And curve the suit round so it's not a straight line, curve it from the neck. So then we're just going to put a little line under his left eye and then a little line under his right eye that comes up around the sides. So this is like eyelid or a crease in his eye. I'm going to shade in his eyebrows so I can get them a little thicker. Now this one on the left, I'm going to make it a little longer and sharper. Now I think we can make a start on the ears. So top of the lip, in line with top of the lip, his ears are going to start on both sides. So just draw a little C on both sides, a little curve, and the top of his ear will start in line with his eyes. So again, just another marking on both sides. We're going to curve up and then round at the top. I'm going to put in another line for like the ear lobe and the creases in the ear. So just put some little details in. And same on the other side. So it curves up and then it squares off. Again, we want to put in that little double line for like the top of the ear for where the interior starts. And the same again, a few lines inside for the texture and detailing. And that's pretty straightforward for the ears. I've got the hard part out the way now. We can make a start on his hair. Now his hair is relatively easy. I'm just going to draw a square. So it's like a rectangular square. And on top of that, I draw another triangle. And I'm just going to draw in the shapes. On the top right corner, a little round circle, half circle. And his hair comes out just above his ear. And it comes down in another square and triangular way. So a diagonal line and a straight line. Same on the left side, it comes out from the back of his ear. So it goes straight up and then curves in slightly. And it's just jagged on this side. So you've got a rough outline now of his hair. So his hair is almost twice the thickness of his forehead, his height on it. All we're going to do now is follow the guidelines we've made and just do it nice and jagged. So like a bushy, round it off just so the lines are not straight. So it's just go up in like bumps. Do each bump different length, different height. Try to stick to the line but just go relatively above the line. So if you just follow the line and curve it like little bush, like just drawing bushes. And you go little triangles and little round little bumps. That'll give his afro a little fuzzy look. So you can rub out your guidelines now on the inside of the hair. Blow that off. There's his forehead. Just curve that a little bit more. And onto his neck. So on the right side of his neck, he's got little like rips in his suit from looks like a claw. It's not like the lizards I'd order him. So we've got rough lines still where we put his shoulders, and we do want to stick with them. So his shoulders are the width of his head. So if you had 3 heads, that's how wide his shoulders want to be. So there's his middle bit of his chest. Onto the logo. So we've got the marking at the top of his chest, like his collarbone, and we're just going to mark out a circle. So we're going to draw a big circle in the middle of his chest, almost like a logo for it, like Flash, but only it's his spider. And a little circle in the middle, and we're going to draw in 2 fangs. Underneath that, we'll draw a few more jagged spots and 1 longer one. Then on the top part, he has 2 round spider legs coming up to the middle, in line with his neck. Well, the one on the left is just inside his neckline, and the one on the right is a little further inside. Then you need to add in the second leg on the left hand side, so it's just slightly wider but shorter than the first leg we did, and the same on the right, almost symmetrical. You want to do it wider and shorter than the previous leg, so it's like a mirror image. And then it comes out, it's like a short little blob, and then down. It's kind of difficult to see because he's got scratches across his chest, which we will add in afterwards. So he has a longer leg coming down the bottom. So we've got 4 on the left side, and the same on the right, a nice long one with a round finish. And then this one on the right side is dripping as well. So if we just finish off his shoulder comes down and then round, and on his shoulder again we've got some claw markings that have ripped his suit, so it's hanging by a few threads. So if you just do some jagged rips on his shoulder, makes it look a little cooler. And then the rips come across the middle of his chest as well, like a Freddy Krueger claw. So just draw them straight over the top of the logo, and then we can just rub the logo out that's on top of the scratches, because that will be his skin underneath when we colour it in. If we colour it in, whatever you decide. So do some little rips and some longer ones across, try and make it look like a claw has just scratched him and just ripped his suit. So there we've got like 4 slivers, like 4 fingers. And then we just want to draw in the rough guided circle that we do. We want to draw in a double layer circle. So it's like a ring. Draw that best we can all the way around. It's not too bad, it looks okay. And it'll join round and just try and draw it underneath the ribs where the suit part is missing. So there, I'm just going to try and make this part of the circle. Rub all the bits out that are on top of it. What I have just noticed is I've copied the wrong logo for his suit on the new film. See, on the Across the Spiderverse movie poster, he's got sharper. It's a sharp spider on his suit, not the rounded one from the first film. So I am actually going to change it to the newer one, the better suit. There's not much difference in it, but I will change it. You can leave yours as it is, or you can follow these steps. Basically, we're just going to rub out the ones we've done one leg at a time. I'm going to put these two closer together. So nice and sharp, the legs are closer on this one. So it's almost the same as before, but I'm going to draw it underneath this, the claw marks. You just want to put a little, it's got like a little drip on this second leg underneath. There's a little jagged drip. So just rub that little blob one out, and it comes in a bit further and then goes out. So it's like a triangle, a negative triangle, negative space. And then, so rub both them legs out. The leg comes down. I'm just going to darken up the claw marks here, so I can see which lines want rubbing out. Add a little one in there. So here is where the pointed spider leg is. So rub out the rounded one. Add in another sharp point here that would go down underneath the scratch, and then it would come in. So it's, you're going to try and make it symmetrical to the left side. And then it comes out again with a negative spaced triangle. Just rub that, any of the old logo out. And it goes underneath that claw mark, and then it'll come down. So I'm going to do the fourth leg slightly longer than the third. So the first and fourth legs will be the longer ones. And the two middle ones are the shorter legs. So as you can see, we do the same on this side. So the third one, we do in nice and short, sharp, pointy. And then the fourth one, longer, nice and sharp point, similar to the other side. Try and make it symmetrical. And do them in the same length on both sides. And it'll look half decent. So I think that's alright. Just marking some of his, maybe where his armpit is. I'm just going to rub out the notes on the side. And I think we'll leave it as that for the end of the tutorial. At this point, I would go around it now in a black biro. I would do some thicker lines underneath the chin where you want shadows. So around the chin area, and then do some finer details. And then you can colour it in. So thanks for watching today's tutorial, and we'll see you again next time.